My name's Tristan Skrillo. I'm doing this video for my SEC 201 class at GCU, Early Adolescent Psychology. This video is going to be about different dispositions that I hold for myself, as well as different dispositions that I plan on bringing into the classroom with me to not only help myself be a successful teacher, but also help my students be the most successful that they can be as well. Now, one of the first questions that we were asked in this assignment was, what are some different dispositions that we hold that will make us successful teachers in the future? Now, one of the dispositions that I think are super important that I hold, that a lot of instructors nowadays I feel like don't, is I'm committed to students' mental health. And what I mean by that is I'm constantly thinking about how different people are feeling, what's going on in their head, what's going on at home, because nobody really knows. And once you start actually getting better with your communication skills as well, which I also hold, you start to be able to get more engaged with your students and start to understand when they're okay and when they're not, and different issues that you can help with. I think that's going to help make me a successful teacher, because it shows that I want to have that relationship with students where they can come talk to me about anything going on in their lives. And I think that's a very successful thing that other teachers of mine have done in the past as well, that I kind of took from them. It's not always, you're in the wrong. It's sometimes what else is wrong in your life that's going on. I think that's what helps successful teachers as well. Now, we were also asked to think about what dispositions we hold that we need to work on before our first year of teaching. Now, when thinking about this, one of the most major issues that I'm going to have my first year of teaching is going to be working with others and collaborating with my full teams. I don't love to collaborate with people or work together. I just kind of think if it needs to be done correctly, just do it myself. Although whenever you're put into the teaching world, it is more about what the team's doing and all the different resources different people can use together to make every student the most effective. Because if you have something in your classroom that's a great assignment that a lot of students love to do, and also it helps really teach them whatever curriculum you are trying to teach them, whenever you're collaborating with others, you can share that out, and all the students can be doing the best that they can be versus just one or the other. I also think that I need to work on my persistence in the classroom, and not just the classroom, in my life as well. A lot of the times, if it doesn't go my way the first few times, or even the first time, I oftentimes don't want to do it again, don't want to try it again, and that's something that I'm going to have to really work on, because different classes, different students, different years, it's always going to be changing. So one thing that works on one class, I might have to try again 6 times to see who it finally does work on. So that's going to be the persistence key, as well as working with the students that don't want to talk to me and don't want to give me any information about what's going on in their lives or anything like that. That persistence to keep trying with that student, to trying to help them learn the best that they can, and also just to help them feel the best that they can, is going to be an important part. And the persistence is a big part of that, because no one likes being yelled at or anything when a student's doing it. Most teachers, they pick and choose who they do and don't like, and that's not what it's about. It's about being persistent with every student to get them to where they need to be. And, Now, some of the different attributes that I think professional educators should hold in the classroom is definitely leading by example. So, when you see teachers that are constantly eating in the classroom, or just putting on music, or constantly watching videos, it makes the students want to keep doing those things. And if you're constantly doing that, then one day you just give your students a test, it's not always going to help them. They're not going to understand everything going on. They're not going to fully understand how to do a test if you haven't done one. And the leading by example part of that is showing them how they should be behaving in the classroom. On the very first day of school, when they walk through your door, explaining the rules, explaining your code of ethics for your school, explaining what needs and what doesn't need to happen in your classroom, explaining homework. That's a big thing. And just showing them the professionalism in the classroom as well, showing them this isn't, fun time. This isn't time for everybody to just be talking and joking around. It's time to be in your seat and learning. So definitely professionalism and leading by example, because if you're a teacher that just lets your children do whatever and you just do whatever in the same way, you're not going to have a very effective classroom. I also want to touch on leading by example with students as well. So teachers that are very sarcastic and joke around and things like that a lot with their students, they don't know always every student that they have. Some people might take that more offensively than others, and some might love the teacher that does that. And what I want to touch on with this is because when students are in your classroom and you're joking around with them a lot or borderline making fun of them even in some cases, other students feel like that's okay to do. Other students feel like that's how they can behave to other students. And it also makes students sometimes not like you if that's how you are. So you have to be careful with your interactions with each and every student as well. You have to be careful about their emotional development. You have to be careful with their social development in the classroom. You have to be looking at all of these different things to ensure that your students are wanting to ask you for help and wanting to get more information from you. Students that tend to not like their teachers or tend to not like the class in general, they do worse than others, and it's because they don't want to be in that learning environment. They don't want to be in that engaged thought process with that teacher or even with that class. So it's important to make sure that all your students also feel welcomed in your classroom. Not only welcomed, but they also feel like that's one of their homes. It's somewhere where they can come to you and they can ask for help and let you know what's going on at home if they have a big issue, and you can help them with that. Now, with both scenarios that I just went over with students, one of which that will do worse in your class and not ask you for help if they don't like you, or the ones that do like you and they want to ask you for help and they want to goof off and joke with you and do all of those different things. With both of these scenarios, teachers have to be careful with how they're controlling their classrooms, because the classroom literally affects everyone. So if a teacher isn't constantly having their eyes open and seeing what's going on in their classroom, one student can take away from 30 others just because they're making fun of people, they're fighting, they're arguing with you as the teacher as well. So you have to be very careful with how your actual classroom control is as well in the classroom. And then one of the last things that I really wanted to go over as well was talking about how I'm going to uphold these expectations in the classroom. I'm going to be upholding these expectations in my classroom by showing everyone the very first day when they walk through my classroom doors what the rules are. Like I said previously, code of ethics, things like that, so that all of the children fully understand what the rules and what the goals are in my classroom. It will also help them do better. If a student walks in and you're changing the rules every 2 or 3 weeks on them, they're getting all discombobulated and dragged through the mud as well. So you have to be very upholding on your expectations and follow through with them. You have to ensure that each and every day those expectations are still being met. You don't have a week off where you're getting lazy and you don't feel like it as the teacher. You have to ensure that those expectations are constantly being upheld so that your students understand fully what the expectations are in the classroom. If the expectations are changing every week, you can't expect them to understand even what the expectations are. You have to be upholding those constantly in your classroom, so that way they don't get confused. And with that, it also promotes moral development and the future of your students as well. With that moral development in the classroom, if they're being held to certain expectations and being shown code of ethics and being shown how to be a proper student, how to do work correctly and how to turn it in correctly, and not only that, but also how to interact with one another, the students, that social development aspect of it, It provides more of a moral development for them. If students are in an engaged classroom where there's the same rules every day, they're not being, dragged through the mud, they understand what's going on in the curriculum, that teacher is actually expressing to them how they feel as well, letting them know if they need help, they can come to us, and letting them know as well that one of my most favorite sayings is, if you have that question, somebody else probably does too, because it's very true in the classroom. But what I'm saying with all of this is, with that moral development aspect of that, students in the classroom, when they're meeting expectations and the teacher's showing that they're proud of them and they're getting good grades and they are developing further in the classroom socially with other students and also emotionally with you as the teacher and understanding that relationship that you both have with one another, it provides a sense of comfort for the students and for the students' future as well. That student's going to probably come back to you one day and ask for more help, more guidance, and not only more help or more guidance in the school, but also in life as well, and in college and future things like that. So it's important to have that open door relationship with your students. But other than that, that is all that I have for this video. I did go a little bit over time, but thank you so much for listening.